Hi, my name is Paige, and this is my amazing mother, Lisa, and this is our dear friend, Kimberly, who we call our Lyme coordinator. So I got sick when I was 23 years old. That was 7 years ago. And I didn't know what was wrong. I was teaching dance. I had just finished university. I was a very energetic, social butterfly. And all of a sudden, I just got very ill for about 7 weeks. I had the worst flu of my life. And I just never recovered after that. And we really wondered what was wrong. We went to numerous doctors and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. I had to stop teaching. I had to stop dancing. I couldn't get off the couch. I couldn't do anything. And no one could figure out really what was wrong. So we spent 2 years trying to get a diagnosis. And in that time, I was getting so sick I couldn't talk on the phone, I couldn't read a book, I couldn't really leave the house, I had to stop driving, I couldn't watch movies, I was very, very sick. And my mom was fighting for me. She'd go to doctor's appointments for me because I couldn't even get there. And one day, my friend was at her hairdresser's appointment, and she came home with a magazine, and she said, "Paige, I think this is you. I think this is what you have." And she read Avril Lavigne's story about Lyme disease, and we knew that that's what I had. Right then and there, we thought, okay, I need to get the test done. So, so I had done the Canadian Lyme test, and it had come back negative, but I had heard from this article and from multiple people too that you have to get tested through the States to get a proper reading. So I did that through IGenics in California, and I had a positive Lyme test. And I remember looking at the stars a couple of nights before I received this test, and I was just praying that I'd have a diagnosis, because I think that was the hardest thing. To not know what was wrong.
Yes. For not even knowing why you felt like this was very difficult.
Probably the most difficult thing was not knowing.
Absolutely.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
And going from doctor to doctor, just wanting an answer and nobody knowing was difficult. And it's not their fault, because they're not trained to know. And we just need our doctors to know what the symptoms are of Lyme disease so they can help guide you. Because if you can catch it before the 2 years, then it won't be chronic. Once it's past 2 years, then you become chronic, and it's very, very difficult to get rid of, which happened to Paige. And you are so sick that you need somebody to fight for you. So if you don't have, if you're on your own, that would be so difficult. You need somebody to help you. So don't give up. And there is help out there. So hopefully our doctors will be more informed soon, because that's the hardest part. And then once we did know what it was, there was nobody here to help us, because they don't know what to do. It's very, very, there's so many variations of what could be wrong with you. So to start fixing what's wrong, you need to be a specialist, a Lyme specialist.
Which, I'm sorry, Lisa, but I do believe you became a specialist, because Lisa would look everything up online. She would follow people's, whatever they said. She would look that up. She'd study it. We would discuss it. And that's where I came in as the coordinator, because we would discuss a lot of things. Even if we had to discuss it 10, 20 times, we would talk about it, because there was a lot of information out there that's you have to decipher through. And you have to decide what's best for you.
But the other thing is not everybody is affected by Lyme disease in the same way. Everybody's different, and you can get so sick.
So sick. I know of people that have passed away from Lyme disease.
Mhm.
People that have been in wheelchairs because of it. You can get so sick.
It's a very lonely disease because you're so sick you can't hang out with anybody, you can't talk to anybody, you can't watch television.
And you can't fight for yourself. I think that's the biggest thing, is that you really need support. You need money, and you do need a very good doctor on your side. But for us, we had to go to British Columbia to get that really good specialist. And I do believe that Ontario is getting there with Lyme. There's a lot more awareness than there was, and doctors are definitely starting to recognize it more. I just really hope and pray that we start getting some doctors that are really researching it, because if you're not fully researching it, it's such a huge disease that I've been told by my specialist that you can't just dabble into it. You have to be fully into Lyme disease in order to treat it. So so I had to go to British Columbia to get the treatment that I needed. So my mom and I, we were on a plane 3 days after we found out that it was Lyme. We were on a plane because we were told we could either go to British Columbia or the States. So we chose BC. I think because I didn't even have a passport, maybe, but we went to BC, and my doctor was amazing. He's just been just a gift from God. Like every step of the way, he's been incredible, and he's helped so much. But in order to do that, you need support, because I couldn't fly by myself. I couldn't get anywhere by myself. You need finances, and nothing's covered. So all of the medication, the flights, the doctor, the antibiotics, nothing's covered. So it gets very expensive. So you really need a lot of support. And if you don't have that, then that's what breaks my heart, is that people can't get better unless they have.
Yes, and Paige, I just might add, Paige looks absolutely lovely right now, but there were times that we would come to visit Paige, and all we could do was hold her hand in the bedroom while she was under the blankets in the dark, just so that she knew somebody was there visiting her.
Yeah.
It is very, very serious. Very serious.
Yeah.
And also, it doesn't have to be this bad, because if you have a terrible flu and you don't know where it came from, and you've got such a sore throat, and then it goes away, and then something else comes, and you're like, what is wrong with me? If it is Lyme disease and it's still young, don't fear, because
you can treat it.
You can treat it when it's young. All it takes is a few weeks of antibiotics. It's gone. So it's that simple.
But when it goes chronic,
it's just when you don't know, and you keep going and going to doctor and time goes on because you're waiting for these appointments, then it becomes more difficult. So try to, if there's something wrong.
Yeah. So some of my symptoms, the big ones were fatigue, and I still, after 7 years, I'm still battling. I'm not out of the woods yet. We're getting there, but I still have some symptoms that we're still dealing with after 5 years of treatment every single day, medication every day, and doctor's appointments, and it's a long fight, but you can get there. And we're still fighting, but we are getting there. So yeah, some of my symptoms would be, at the beginning, a terrible flu, the worst flu of my life, and I just lost 30 pounds right off the bat. Just couldn't get out of bed, lost so much weight, and couldn't really go anywhere without being fevered. I was constantly fevered, sore throat, achy, felt like I had a constant flu, very bad headaches.
And then it went to a diet that she all of a sudden had allergies to.
I couldn't eat anything.
Food, so she could just eat fruits and vegetables, and then that went away, but we didn't know, and we thought she was celiac because every time she ate wheat or bread, gluten, we went through that. And then there were so many things that it mimics, and then it changes, and then it goes to something else.
Yeah.
And then it went to her head, and she had a lot of head pain.
and yeah, lots of headaches.
You don't have to have pain in your joints for it to be Lyme disease.
Yes.
It does not have to be joint pain. Paige had no joint pain.
No. And a lot of doctors, we'd ask them and we'd say, do I have Lyme disease? And they'd say, well, do you have joint pain? And I'd say no. And then they said, oh, well, it's not Lyme disease. So I think that's a common
Mistake. Yeah.
Yes, you don't have to have joint pain. I had a lot of headaches and sensitivity to light and sound. So for a couple of years, I had a bed in my closet, and that's where I'd have to be all day because I couldn't handle any noise or any light. So I had to eat dinner in my closet. I just had to spend the whole day in there. So it got that bad, and it's definitely a lot better now.
Yes.
So much better, but it took a lot of treatment to get here, and lots of support. And
Yes, you need support.
yes.
And Paige, you have been positive throughout this as well. That probably did help you. But seeing you sick at the sick times, it was not very fun. Yes.
Well, the thing that got me through was definitely my faith in God and just holding on to hope and praying and just looking for all of the blessings each day that God has given me. So my mom, Kim, my family, a warm bed, just thinking about all of the positive things. And even in the midst of it, God sent me a boyfriend when I never expected it. And then he would sit with me and sit outside of my closet and eat dinner. And it just brought me so much joy. And yeah, and then we ended up getting married. So there's so many blessings through it that I would never give it up. But I just, I'm very grateful for everything that I've learned through it and for all of the blessings. But it just breaks my heart to know that other people are suffering with it and they don't
May
know
not
what's
even
wrong.
know.
Yeah. And I've met a couple of friends that I think for sure you have Lyme disease, but the test is $700 to go through the States, and they don't have that money because they've been sick for 20 years. And so that's another really hard thing, is that it's very expensive even to get the test. So it's really hard. I wish that I could help. I wish that we could help them. So I think by raising awareness, it will help people. Yeah, because if you can catch it sooner than later, then you can get better.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah. Anything else?
I love
can
these
do
girls.
it. Yes.
You can do
You
it.
can do it. Yes.
Put an end to Lyme.
Yes. Yes. And spread the word, and just keep researching about it. And
You don't have to
Don't
have
give
the
up.
rash to get, or the bullseye. Paige did not have the rash
Yes.
or the bullseye.
yes, you don't have to have a bullseye
Most people
rash.
don't, actually.
Yeah. It can be the Lyme tick can be as small as a period at the end of a sentence. My Lyme doctor told me.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
And
be patient in getting better, because it takes a while. It took a while to get sick. It takes a while to get better.
yes.
But you can do it.
Yes.
That for sure.
Yes.
That is for sure.
I couldn't even get out of bed without being fevered before, and now today I get to go to ballet, so that's my dream come true. So
Because dreams really do come true.
they do. I'm trying not to cry as I'm thinking about going to ballet after all of these years.
Yeah.
So also another thing is that if you ever need someone to talk to, or if you need any information on it, I'm more than willing to talk to anyone that might think that they have Lyme disease or have any questions. And my mom is willing to help anyone too. I know that. So I'm sure Kim.
I could listen.
She's a great listener. So if you have any questions, we would be more than willing to help. Bye.
Take care.
And keep fighting.